Today on Commander Replay, we check out this Morophon Dragon list, and we ask the question, does cost reducing them by WUBRG make them free and easy to cast? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, or if you're just looking to get some high quality games of NTGO, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Morophon the Boundless Dragon Tribal today. And today's deck list comes to us from GoFundMe donor Jared, and this is a Morophon Dragon Tribal deck. I've actually already played one game with the deck, and it had some issues in that game. I got stuck and just did like nothing for like 4 or 5 turns on end, so not going to show that one, probably not really worth showing because did a whole lot of nothing. Anyway, I made a few changes to the deck between games, added a little bit more removal to it, kind of tweaked a few things around, tried to clean up the mana curve just a little bit so the deck is hopefully just a little bit quicker and has a few more answers to things because last game I just wasn't able to answer anything at all. And it caused some problems. So we're going to be playing a slightly upgraded version of the deck, and we actually see 1 or 2 of the changes in hand already. We've got this Austere Command, a pretty sweet card. Ended up keeping a hand that looks like this, got a couple lands, got some ramp, got more ramp, got some protection, and a board wipe, so decent smattering of stuff. Only thing we're really missing is card draw. Suppose there is some in this Dragon, but it's very, very slow. Anyway, with that, I guess we'll just play this Hollowed Fountain tapped right here. And we'll pass turn like that. We are going last in the turn order. Never liked doing that. Yep, here comes the turn 2 Soul Ring for the Rosheen. They're going to be off to the races. Blech. So yeah, this is an interesting deck concept. It's a Morophon deck that looks very similar to an Dragon deck, and I'm kind of curious to get more of a feel on this style of play. The cost reduction on Morophon is pretty cool and it's going to give you multiple cost reduction, but it comes at the cost of Morophon has to actually be in play, where the Dragon does not. And the fact that the Dragon doesn't need to be in play is it's a pretty good thing. Pretty powerful ability, so last game did run into some issues with Morophon just getting blown up repeatedly, and that caused a bunch of problems for us. So hopefully that won't be the case of this game. We actually get to see it a little bit. There's a Dragon Tempest, that's a sweet one. Play this Windswept Heath, crack this Windswept Heath. We'll get something with some green and red in it, thinking Stomping Ground. We'll pay the life, play the Dragon Tempest, and pass turn like that. Oop, opponent suspended a Mox Tantalite, spicy. So you'll notice I'm back on camera today, and the reason for that is that I got the camera right before I went away to Vegas, and then things got really crazy and things got really stressful, so I didn't want to do anything out of the ordinary at that point, and the camera thing is still pretty new, so really I was just trying to get as many things done as possible, as quickly as possible, so that's why the camera went away for a little bit. We'll probably start to see more of it now that I'm a little bit back on track with stuff, at least slightly more so. Still have 12 GoFundMe videos left to do, so I'm working there. I'm trying to get through them just as fast as I can. But yeah, I'll probably start using the camera a lot more again, so I'm back. You'll probably see me flipping the image on screen here back and forth, and that's because when I put it on the left side, that's where the OK box is, and it makes it really annoying to click, so for the most part, it's much more convenient to have the image over here on the right, so yeah. Anyway, while I was doing all that, opponent lays down Harmonize, gets themselves some extra card draw, gets their Soul Ring blued up by this Kaya for the Teysa opponent. And with that, that'll bring it back to our turn. Let's see. We have an island, play the island, get the Urza's Incubator into play. We really want to make our next land drop. I really hope we don't miss that. Choosing dragons, and we'll pass the turn like that. Here comes a Gaia's Cradle for the Rosheen opponent. Only 1 mana currently, not too bad, but it'll be much more later on. Talani's Summoner coming into play. Yep, that can make a lot of creatures to power up the Gaia's Cradle. And Rosheen coming into play. Yep. Also a Marwyn came down for the Morophon opponent. So looks like Morophon Elves probably. So yeah, as I was talking about a little bit, I did play a game with this deck already, and we really just got stuck. Someone was playing the Jeru deck, which is Mono White Super Friends, and they got Ugin in, they got Karn in, they got both Karns in, and it just turned into a headache. And the board wipe, there was a Elspeth, so the board kept getting blown up every turn, and when Big Elspeth blows up all creatures power 4 or greater, it's really good against a Dragon deck. And when that happens 3 or 4 times, then the Dragon deck does nothing. Also, it didn't draw particularly well. It just kind of hit a lot of lands, a lot of ramp, and literal nothing else. So Definitely a good situation to try to make some changes afterwards. Like I said, help the deck out a little bit. It made it a little bit more well-rounded, has a few more answers to things, has a little bit more protection, cleaned up some stuff mana curve-wise, offloaded some things from 5CMC that don't need to be there because there's already a ton of dragons at 5CMC. I'll show the changes that I made to the deck at the end of the video, even though they occurred before this video was filmed. Sequentially, it'll be a little bit out of order, but if you want to see the upgrades to the deck, that'll be at the end. And like I said, Austere Command is one of the ones that I added. Austere Command, really good with dragons because your dragons are big. Your opponent's stuff may or may not be, so enough of the time you can make Austere Command one-sided. Plus the fact that it hits artifacts and enchantments would have been super helpful last game. But anyway, that brings back to our turn. A bunch of elves coming down for the other Morophon opponent. We get the forest that we're looking for. Play the forest, play the Sky Shroud Claim. Not enough mana to cast any of our dragons yet. We are on 6 with the cost reduction. It'll be 7 for a dragon. So at this point, we're just going to play the Sky Shroud Claim, get ourselves some lands. We have 0 black mana at this moment. So Overgrown Tomb, and what else do we have? We have 2 sources of green, 2 sources of blue, 1 source of white, maybe a white source of some kind. We only have 1 red source. There's a lot of red in the deck. We've already got the Stomping Ground. That's not the best. How much black did I say we have? We have 0 black. Overgrown Tomb. We have a bunch of blue. Get the Temple Garden. Not going to pay for either of those. Don't have anything to do with it at this moment. So the Mox Tantalite ticking down for our opponent. And it finally comes into play. Opponent going to do some attacking with the Talani's Summoner. Yep. Ooh, Rosheen's going to give 4 extra mana for that Talani's ability. Seems pretty good. So opponent gets 8 elemental tokens into play. Attacking. Whew. And with the Gaia's Cradle, that is very, very scary. Yeah, probably going to have to Austere Command on our turn to stop what's going on over there. Unless someone else wants to play some removal. I'd be very happy if they did. Opponent's going to Maze of Ith one of them. Yep. And Talani's is actually going into the Kaya. So Kaya, in all likelihood, is going to go down right here. Just a casual 10 mana off this Gaia's Cradle. Cryptolith Right, definitely have to play the board wipe now. Here comes a Lava Burst. Oh, opponent mazed the creature that was attacking Kaya, so Kaya survived. Opponent's going to Lava Burst X1, get rid of the Kaya. Kaya down. And here comes a Jalariel, Empress of Beasts. Yep, definitely board wipe time. Probably just going to have to go all creatures and leave the Cryptolith Right, which makes me a little sad. Opponent has City's Blessing, so the tokens get to stick around. Ooh. Teysa missing a land drop right there, with one of their lands being a Maze of Ith. Well, I guess Maze of Ith taps for mana because of the Urborg, but that's still pretty rough. Pretty rough. 2 Gaia's Cradles in play. Really wish I had a Volcanic Offering in this deck. Love that card, but when you've got a lot of things at 5 mana already, probably just not going to fit in a dragon style deck, which makes me sad. Because we got lands we need to blow up. We do have Numot the Devastator in the deck, and Numot can get rid of some lands. And with Dragon Tempest in play, assuming that'll stick around, that shouldn't be too hard to do that. Just need to find Numot. Here comes Master Biomancer. Yep. Yeah, definitely got to blow up all the creatures now. Here comes Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter. Yep. All the elves. Okay, brings it back to our turn. There's a Rocky Tar Pit. Play the Rocky Tar Pit. Play the Austere Command. All creatures. Good thing we got that second white last turn. Almost didn't. Oh no, opponent plays a Heroic Intervention. All their stuff survives. Oh, we have minimal removal in this deck. It's not good. It's not good. I think next turn we can play Morophon into Daragaz. Think that's a thing that we can do. Seems pretty good. Here comes a Xenagos, the Reveler. Yep. So opponent gets a token with Xenagos. Opponent plays another Kaya and going to make each opponent discard a card. How close are we in the Ur Dragon? Ur Dragon draws us cards. Ooh. Oh, it makes me sad. I think it's going to be the Eerie Interlude. I think we need both of these things in our hand. Definitely need to take down that Kaya if the elf opponent does not. Oh, that's a Zendikar Resurgent for the elf opponent. Oh, man. They're probably not too far away. Probably not too far away. Here comes their Morophon. Yep. Enters with 2+ counters on it. Whew. And a Bloodbraid Elf into Zendikar Resurgent. Getting an Imperious Perfect. And all of these things are huge. Awesome. Yeah, them dodging that Austere Command is bad news for us. I mean, if we just try to, like, swing into them, they'll probably kill us on the crackback, honestly. Our best board wipe is gone in Austere Command. I forget if there's a Toxic Deluge in the deck. There's a Crux of Fate somewhere. Crux of Fate wouldn't be terrible. And there's a Finale Devastation. Cool. X3. Didn't see what opponent got with it. Opponent going full swing into the Teysa. Yeah, Teysa most likely to have a board wipe. Oh, there's an Edric in play? Oh, that changes things. Oh, now we got to think about what card draw to another opponent would mean. Another thing to think about, if another player has a board wipe, they have to play it now, and anything we cast is just going to go into that board wipe. That's a Rishkar's expertise. I don't know that we can play a creature and get Rishkar's all in the same turn. I think we're just going to do the Morophon and Daragaz thing. At least Daragaz would survive a board wipe, come back in a few turns. Can't really do that much else. Choosing Dragon. Get 1 damage, pretty much useless. Daragaz. Daragaz will cost 2. Can Dragon Tempest again. Send Daragaz their way. Make sure there's nothing with reach. Opponent goes down to 25. Opponent going to send both tokens over to the Teysa. Yep. Teysa gonna need a board wipe. Edric will trigger twice. It could be a Blasphemous Act. Hopefully. The land type is Urza's Power Plant Swamp. Never seen that. Interesting art. Haven't seen the new art on that. Here's a Demon Fire X8. Gonna play that on the Edric. I don't know if that's the one I would have picked. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter that much. Oh, it's a rout. Oh, thank God. Whew. That is huge. If opponent didn't have it, that was going to be game. Now, opponent still has a Zendikar Resurgent and a Gaia's Cradle, so they can take some one creature, they'll draw more cards, produce a lot more mana, and they'll be able to rebuild probably pretty quickly, so not super ideal. Daragaz does get exiled with 3 egg counters on it, and we'll come back in a few turns. Here's Soul of the Harvest. Yep. Get all the card draw going. There's Dwindling Guiltleaf Dane. Reach. 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 Other elves you control a +1/+1. Whenever attacked, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf. There's a Farseek. And that'll bring it back to our turn. Daragaz ticks down. There's a Taurine Mauler. Probably not the most helpful. We should be able to cast it for 1 red, though. We do not have a 2nd red mana, however. Does this bring that land in tap, too? No, Rocky Tar Pit can get us a 2nd red mana, so I think we need to crack the Rocky Tar Pit. Get ourselves a Blood Crypt. Untapped. Looks like we have to tap out everything for the Ur Dragon, so... Oh, I guess we can use the Ur Dragon ability to just get Taurine Mauler, so... Not terrible. We've only got 1 damage on the dragons. Keep shooting that at Nate's face. Here comes the swords on our dragon. Dragon down. Awesome. We gained a bunch of life. Opponent's going to make another token. Yep. Here comes Rosheen back to play. Should have went for the Mauler because it was much less likely to get swordsed. But that's a hard thing to know going into that. Ooh, that's a planar cleansing. Nice. All right, that's just what the doctor ordered. Get rid of this Zendikar Resurgent. Sad to lose Dragon Tempest and Urza's Incubator, but I'll trade that for the Zendikar Resurgent and the Cryptolith Rite. Those have also this Soul of the Harvest. All potential to become problems. Elvish Visionary into play. Opponent will get to draw a card. Ooh, opponent ran out of gas. Interesting. Daragaz still ticking down for us. 1 counter to go. Here's a Breeding Pool. Play the Taurine Mauler. And we'll be 1 short on the Rishkar's expertise, and we wouldn't want to play it with the 2-power creature anyway. So play the Breeding Pool tapped. And we'll pass turn like that. After the board wipe now, we should be able to catch people casting a lot of spells. So Taurine Mauler should get nice and big for us and be a nice target for the Rishkars. Vastwood Hydra into play, X4. And we'll get a counter on the Mauler. There's a Corehaven. Yep, more pillow forting. Got Maze of Ith and Corehaven. Take a lot of dragons to get through that mess. Opponent just going to play Teysa instead. So that'll destroy any creatures that do damage to it. To the player. Also has Vigilance and Protection from creatures. Pretty good. Gets themselves tokens. Veil of Summer. What is this? Draw a card of an opponent cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered. And permanents gain hexproof. Alright. That was out of the Rosheen opponent, by the way. Just cycling it to draw a card right there. Here comes Court of Calling X3. And that'll tick up our Taurine Mauler. Eternal Witness, probably. Selvala. Interesting. Must be low on cards. Or planning to go infinite. One or the other. Opponent activates the Selvala. We draw a Smothering Tide. That's going to be a good one. And here comes Lissalana Huntmaster. Whenever you cast an elf spell, create elf tokens. Cast an elf. More Taurine Mauler triggers. Elves getting made. Opponent gets a Scry in there. That'll bring it back to our turn. And Daragaz is going to come back into play for us. There it is. There's a Cultivate. Step 1. Play this Rishkar's expertise. Going to get a bunch of cards right here. As long as we don't get countered, which we might. We will get Cyclonic Rifted is what we'll get. Cool. We do get to cast something for free. Definitely going to be the Smothering Tithe. We get a token. Really needed that card draw. Oh, that's Boundless Realms for the Rosheen opponent. That's going to get them so many lands. You don't see Boundless Realms as much as you used to. I know Commander has sped up a bit. It is a slow and clunky card, but if you need lands into play, it will put lands into play for you. Opponent doubles up their mana. Another treasure token for us. Oh, nice. That's a Cleansing Nova out of the Teysa opponent. So Elves getting cleaned up again. And we're in a position to send Daragaz back their way. Deathrite Shaman coming in for our opponent. Yep. With that, that's going to bring it back to our turn. There's a mountain. Play the mountain. Play Daragaz. Play Taurine Mauler. Do some attacking. Gonna send Daragaz into the Morophon elf opponent. I know what kind of cards they play, and they can rebuild very quickly. They really like things that generate value. Lots and lots of card draw, lots and lots of value generation. So, yep. I have eyes to probably try to take them out first, even though the Rosheen is in a better position. We'll see what Rosheen does this turn. Maybe we'll need to turn our attention, but Kodama's Reach, yep. Trigger the Mauler. That's it. That's interesting. The opponent didn't recast their commander. I would have suspected they would have done that with all the mana that they have open. Maybe they're sitting on an X spell of some kind, but I don't know. Maybe there's going to instant speed shoot someone in the face for like 15 or 20. We're at 45 still, so that's not too bad. They would need some mana doubling before they could shoot us reliably, but maybe they want to take down the Teysa opponent because no one can actually keep stuff in play. That's an Ashen Rider. Let's see what this is going after. Smothering Tithe, probably the best card in play. Though, maybe Daragaz. Yep, Daragaz about to go down. Gets exiled. Now there's a question of, now what do we do? There's that blue wheel that's in the deck. We could really use that. Also a Rhystic Study in the deck, but I don't know, people are starting to run out of cards, have a lot of mana. It's going to lose some efficiency. Here comes Azuri Renegade Leader. Yep, opponent will get a Scry. Brings it back to our turn. There's Dragonlord Ojutai. That can get us extra cards. We need it to survive. Who knows if it'll do that or not, but let's do some attacking with the Taurine Mauler. In for 5 on the Rosheen. See how much Morophon cost right now? Cost 9. We have enough to go Morophon and Dragonlord Ojutai, so I think I'm going to do that. Cast Morophon. Choose Dragons. Cast Dragonlord Ojutai for 3. And we've got ourselves Dragonlord Ojutai. Next turn, maybe we'll be able to cast the Cultivate. We'll see. Of course, we're still on the Hope Everything Survives plan. Don't know if that'll happen or not. Yeah, opponent didn't recast their commander last turn. Makes me scratch my head right there. Maybe just assuming it was going to be more board wipes. There was no reason to. I don't know. Another treasure token. That's a Wheel of Fortune. That's going to get everyone a bunch of card draw, and we've got a Smothering Tithe. Oh, that is awesome. That means opponent has literal nothing. If someone's playing a Wheel of Fortune when they see you have a Smothering Tithe, that means that they are really hurting for cards. So we get a whole bunch of triggers. We draw... Wow, that's a lot of lands. That hurts. We do draw a Kindred Discovery, but if none of our stuff survives, it's going to be a really big problem. We do get the Eldamri's Call. While opponents are working through these Smothering Tithe triggers right here, we'll go take a look at the deck. We have Teneb if we need to reanimate something. Bunch of dragons with haste. Dragon got exiled. Niv Mizzet is potential card draw. There's a Makokoro for opponent. Elvish Pioneer. When it enters the battlefield, they can put a land onto the battlefield tapped. Here comes a Bloodbraid Elf. Yep. Opponent gets themselves a Mana Crypt. Probably not the one they needed. Does trigger our Mauler again. Our Mauler's up to 10 power. Clan Defiance. X damage to target creature without flying. X damage to target player or planeswalker. Opponent's going to shoot our Taurine Mauler. Awesome. Taurine Mauler down. We take a hit. We go down to 33. Probably got to focus the Morophon. We got to see what the elf opponent's got. They got 7 new cards. We got to see if Teysa gets another board wipe. If they do, that is trouble. Card we probably want is Karthus, Tyrant of Jund, because it gives all of our dragons haste. And if we're planning to do some card drawing with Kindred Discovery, haste will be very, very good. Oh, Authority of the Consoles, no. Oh. Fated Return. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains Indestructible. If it's your turn, scry 2. Indestructible Soul of the Harvest incoming. Opponent has only the Maze of Ith up, but they do have a flying blocker. Authority of the Consoles makes it really, really hard to be explosive. Super, super annoying. Guardian Project for our opponent. Yep. There's that card draw. Comes Jiraga Warcaller. Multi-kicker enters the battlefield with +1 counter on it for each time it was kicked. Other elves get +1/+1 for each counter on it. Guardian Project will trigger. Another Smothering Tithe. Reclamation Sage. See if this goes after Authority or the Smothering Tithe. Not sure which ones you go for right here. Going after our Smothering Tithe makes me sad. Smothering Tithe down. Here comes Coiling Oracle. Comes Amara. Yep. All coming in tapped. We could use another big draw. Wear Tear to get rid of Authority would not be the worst thing I've ever seen. Here comes the Finhorn Elves. Yep, more triggers. So, I mean, if they untap next turn, they probably have lethal on at least a player or two. Oh, Heritage Druid. Yep, comes in tapped. That'll make crazy amounts of mana. Opponent down to 18 life. We definitely don't have 18 damage in the air. Not with Authority sticking around. It's a Boreal Druid. We draw another land. So unbelievably not helpful. Play Eldamri's Call. Instead of Karthus now, I'm thinking maybe Niv Mizzet. Try to get extra cards. Yeah, I'm going to try Niv Mizzet. Like, we've drawn so many lands and just not at all helpful. Play the... I guess we'll play the Temple of the False God. Play Kindred Discovery. Choosing Dragons. Play Niv Mizzet. Oh, Niv Mizzet's free when you have Morophon. Awesome, I forgot about that. Nice, I was totally prepared to pay mana for it. Put Niv Mizzet trigger on the bottom, Kindred on top. Authority of the Consoles will trigger. Draw a card. It's a Farseek. Not helpful. I don't understand what just happened. Oh, we didn't have any two-color cards? We have no two-color cards, so we, what, just put everything on the bottom? Yep, I guess they all go to the bottom. Okay, so maybe Niv Mizzet's not very good in this deck because we just whiffed really hard. I guess we're going to combat. Get 2 Kindred Discovery triggers. Here's a Chromatic Lantern, not helpful. And a Basalt Monolith, also not helpful. Most of the cards we wanted would have just gotten shuffled away right there. I'm going to block with the Deathrite Shaman. Going to exile land, make a mana, and regenerate the Deathrite Shaman. Opponent takes a hit for 12. We get a Dragonlord Ojutai trigger. Oh, there's 3 cards that are actually useful. There's a Rhystic Study. That's the one I think we need more than anything else. Put that one into the hand. Rest on the bottom. Play Rhystic Study. Play Chromatic Lantern. Play Farseek. I guess we'll get Mistveil Plains. Play Basalt Monolith. And we'll pass like that. Yeah, with Niv Mizzet, they need to be exactly 2 colors, and I don't know if there's enough 2-color cards in this deck to make that good. The free cast is cool, but would have totally picked another dragon if I knew that was coming. Cinder Elemental for our opponent, yep. Opponent going to pay for the Rhystic Study. Opponent can activate Makokoro. We need some help. There's the Karthus we were looking for. Still got to get rid of the Authority of the Consoles, though. And not die to the Elves. Fintorn Elf, yep. Board wipe out of Teysa? Let's see it. Just got 7 fresh cards. One of them was a land. Gonna send the Ashen Rider over to the Rosheen opponent. We do have a Haven of the Spirit Dragon in hand, which can get a dragon back should we get blown up again. Might be relevant. Here comes Elspeth's Sun Champion. We're about to get blown up again. Problem is, it's not going to touch any of these elves. Yep, here that comes. Ashen Rider's got to hit Azuri, otherwise we all die. Okay, Ashen Rider on Azuri. We don't have to die this turn. Cool. There's a Rhythm of the Wild. Still not helpful with Authority in play. And there's a Beacon of Unrest getting... can't tell what. We draw a Frontier Siege. Opponent gets back the Ashen Rider. Can Ashen Rider on Amara. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea. Here comes a Beast Whisperer. Yep. Opponent will get a Scry out of it. Oh, opponent plays a Nature's Claim on the Authority of the Consoles. Okay, we can do some work. We can do some work. So, we can play Karthus. We can then draw a card. Hopefully it's a dragon. We can use the Haven of the Spirit Dragon to get back another dragon. We can play Frontier Siege, potentially get ourselves some extra mana. So we have a pretty good amount of mana with the treasure token sitting around. As long as it's not a Bane of Progress, we're in good shape. Oh, that's a Greater Hoof Behemoth. We're all going to die. Yep. I don't think opponent can kill all of this, so you have some choices to make. Yep, of course, us first. Opponent's going to play a Red Elemental Blast on the Coiling Oracle. Rhystic Study will trigger. I don't think there's anything in here that'll save us. I don't think there's not that much instant speed stuff in the deck. Opponent pays. I don't know why they would pay. Well, we did have that Magma Quake, though. Magma Quake could have been the one. And we go down. Other 2 opponents survive. Ashen Rider will trigger. And opponent will Teferi's Protect, of course. Yeah, we hit so badly with our draws right there. It was atrocious. 5 lands or 6 lands, whatever that was. Opponent activates the Makokoro. So opponent sends in all their creatures to the Teysa, puts them to 1, loses the Bloodbraid Elf in the process, plays a Nissa Vastwood Seer. Oh, they could have got there, I think. When's the flip? Yeah, I think they could have got there if they turned a land into a creature, then attacked with it. And taken down the Teysa opponent right there. Teysa gets a turn. Opponent's going to make some tokens. Ooh, that's a Kakusho. All right. So maybe not out of it just yet. Get a card draw out of the deal. Here's a Cavalier Dawn. That's a good one. What do you go after? You go after your own Kakusho is what you do. You gain yourself some life back. Don't think they're going to get the 5 from... Yeah, they only gain 5 life total. They don't gain 10 because of the Teferi's protection. Still, when you're at 1, 6 is a lot more than 1. Here comes Elvish Archdruid. Yep. And opponent gonna Cinder Elemental X20 to the face of the Morophon opponent. And down they go. It's gonna be a little bit of a battle here. Teysa's got a lot more cards than Rosheen has at the moment. They do have the Mokokoro, though. They can look at a few extra things. I guess they have the Nissa also. Try to look at some extra things as well. But opponent's got some meat up for blocking right now, plus the Maze of Ith. So it really does take a lot to get through, unless they can top deck an X spell. And then just shoot him in the face and not have to deal with any of that. Gonna use Mokokoro. Play an Unbound Flourishing. Whenever you cast a permanent spell with a mana cost X that contains X, double the value. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that contains X, copy it. Genesis Wave for 1,000,000. Volcanic Geyser for X19. This should do it. Copy it. There's the copy. So Rosheen taking it down. He hit a Chandra's Ignition in hand too. We had Divinity of Pride, Phyrexian Arena, Purify, and Utter End for the Teysa opponent. Yeah, we just got caught. The Elf deck with Craterhoof just so explosive. With Azuri being down, I thought we had a really good chance of surviving, but no, Craterhoof is still a card. That's still one issue with this deck. It doesn't protect itself particularly well. Maybe a Thaumatic Compass, maybe Settle the Wreckage or Comeuppance, cards like that could be a good idea. Teferi's Protection is a really good one, but I know it's expensive. Comeuppance much cheaper, Settle the Wreckage much cheaper. Maelstrom Wanderer. Ooh, wow. That gets people for a lot of damage. So puts Karamitra to -6. Down they go. Puts... Ooh, we could both die right here. Was not expecting a Maelstrom Wanderer. That's a Stonehoof Chieftain. Uh-oh. Here comes Maelstrom Wanderer. Yep. Maelstrom and Stonehoof both out of range of Ugin. And here comes a Serra Ascendant. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about something like this happening. So Maelstrom's in. Everything's got haste. Opponent can attack one Planeswalker and everything else to the face. Well, we're not getting attacked. Hauntify Tower will force them to discard a card. Stonehoof Chieftain will trigger. Opponent goes down to combat damage. That brings it back to our turn. We draw a mountain. We are probably dead. There's a Kalitas. I guess we got to try. Play Ugin. Looks like 6 is the number that we need to Ugin for. Yep, we'll go Ugin for 6. That leaves us with a Scourge of Valkus and a Sylvia Brightspear. Brings back to opponent's turn. Basically, they just need to cast their commander, and we are done for. Can only hope they get distracted and swing at the Ugin. Stonehoof triggers. Interesting, you don't see that much of Stonehoof anymore. He used to show up a lot. Block Bolus. And down we go. Yep. So this deck needs a little bit of help, I think. This deck needs a lot more removal. The removal is very, very light in this deck, and this deck does not have a single way to beat a Stonehoof Chieftain. And I get it, that's not a card that shows up as much as it used to. Used to show up a lot more, but it's literally just an indestructible creature that there's no way to deal with it in this deck. It will just be there, and it'll attack you to death, and it will be a problem. So a lot more removal is needed. I get that not everyone plays Jeru decks, but Super Friends is a very popular archetype right now. So for a deck like this, a really easy card to think about is going to be Magma Quake. This is going to be one-sided removal, doesn't hit your dragons, will hit Morophon, but Morophon's still pretty big on its own, so depending on how much you need to go for. But it's also going to hit Planeswalkers, which makes it really, really flexible. Especially with Super Friends being so popular. In the post-Atraxa world, Magma Quake is a pretty good thing to have. Once Atraxa kind of opened the door to the Super Friends archetype and made it really popular, this is a really good card to have around. I'm a big fan of Hour Revelation, just that one's much harder in a 5-color deck because of the triple white. So we're definitely adding in a Magma Quake. We are getting rid of Okagachi. That card, I don't know. Okagachi in just a straight dragon deck, it's not doing much for me. I get that it's cute, doesn't cost that much if Morophon's in play, and that's kind of cool, but other than that, it's basically just a 6/6 with trample. It's fine. There was a Rishkar's Expertise in the deck. Would have been nice to see one of those at some point. But the situation we were in there is that we really need to blow up opponent's stuff. This deck needs an Austere Command. Opponent has so many artifacts and enchantments in play. If we cut off their mana rocks, then then the Planeswalker opponent is really stuck. Then they're going to be hurting pretty bad. So definitely needs an austere command in there. With this Vanquisher's banner, I would probably move this to something else. With dragons, you don't need the +1/+1 that much, and there are other ways to get the card draw. You've already got Elemental Bond, you've got Temur Ascendancy, and the big idea is that those don't compete in the 5 converted mana cost slot with all of these dragons. So, I mean, something that I would probably add is just like, if you want that card draw, just like a Harmonize in your 4 converted mana cost slot, I would put something like that right there, just so you're not competing at all the same mana costs. You can only have so many 5 drops in a deck. A card that we should probably have, but didn't, is Blasphemous Act. I mean, I really just put that in every deck that has red. Not that creatures were necessarily the problem in that game. It was definitely Planeswalkers that were the issue. So that's definitely going to be more of your Hour of Revelation type stuff. But, I don't know. Herald's Horn is a card that I go back and forth on a lot. Like, it has cool abilities, but I just don't know if it's ultimately that effective. Like, how often do you actually get the additional card draw ability, and then you're really talking about a 3-mana artifact that gives you 1 cost reduction? Like, it's fine, but it just doesn't wow me. And actually, there's no Cultivates in this deck. Yeah, I would cut this for a Cultivate. Cultivate and Kodama's Reach are so much safer because Herald's Horn is going to get blown up at the first sign of, artifact removal. Any sort of Austere Command, Vandal Blast type thing. So you're better off just getting lands there. I think it's going to be so much less fragile. Unsettled Mariner is okay, but because this deck has access to green... Actually, last night I was doing an Ur-Dragon review for someone. The way that an Ur-Dragon deck looks is very similar to how this deck looks right now. So, Steely Resolve is going to be better because now your creatures just have Shroud. It doesn't matter if they have extra mana or not. And you're talking about an enchantment that is so much more durable than a 2/2 creature that's going to die at the first sign of creature removal. So that's going to be a big thing. This deck just needs like a Return to Dust or something. If someone plays a Humility, this deck has like almost no answers to it. So let's get a Return to Dust in there. There is an Asceticism in the deck. Asceticism, solid card, very sweet card, but it is 5 mana. You've already got a bunch of 5 mana dragons. You've got a bunch of 6 mana dragons, a bunch of 7 mana dragons. That is going to compete mana cost wise. You can only cast so many 5, 6, and 7 drops during the course of a game. Now, if you have Asceticism, I would keep it in until you own a Steely Resolve. But for the time being, I'm just going to take that out, see if we can get this down to 100 cards. Cutting the Herald's Horn, getting rid of it. Same thing with Worn Power Stone, too, actually. I love Worn Power Stone, but this is a 5-color deck, so that's going to be a recipe for Cultivate and Kodamas. Basalt Monolith is okay. It does get you to Morophon faster. If you get Morophon out, that's a lot of cost reduction, which is pretty cool. I was also wanting Haste really, really badly. If we could have cast some of those dragons with Haste, we would have been able to do a lot more. We're going to get rid of this Dragon Master Outcast. That card, meh. It's never as good as you want it to be. But a really good card right now is Rhythm of the Wild. Rhythm of the Wild is going to give you Haste and Can't Be Countered, and those are massive abilities. So definitely want to get that in there. Dragonlord Servant, it's okay, but it's fragile. Honestly, Sakura Tribelder, or literally any 2-mana card, Rampant Growth, Farseek, anything like that, is going to be much better for that. And I would probably add more ramp at 2 mana. Get a Farseek, get a Nature's Lore. You're going to want a couple things to do with 2 mana. This deck really doesn't start to do much until turn 3, which is slow. And so one of the things I didn't like is that you have a deck that's slow like that. You don't have much at the early parts of the curve. If that's the case, that means that you also need removal to slow things down. Laying down a board wipe in there is what's going to stop that player from just winning the game in 6 or 7 turns. So it's really, really important to have more removal in the deck. The other thing I would look at, too, is probably more protection. That's something I've been experimenting with in the Ur-Dragon, like how much protection you actually need. If you know board wipes are coming, you've got one piece here in Eerie Interlude. You've got another that's kind of slow with the Asceticism we pulled out. I subbed in Steely Resolve for that. I know it's expensive, but Teferi's Protection is the premier card. If you don't have Teferi's Protection, then Eerie Interlude is the next budget option. But beyond those, some things that I'm looking at right now, specifically for the Ur-Dragon deck, is actually Legion's Initiative. So Legion's Initiative is going to be an anthem for your red dragons, which is decent, but it gives you protection from all board wipes, mass bounce, sacrifice, toxic deluge style stuff that like Boros Charm and Heroic Intervention doesn't necessarily protect you from. And Boros Charm and Heroic Intervention, totally fine choices as well, but Legion's Initiative is one that I've been experimenting with, not quite sure yet. And also, like, honestly, you can just use it to give your stuff haste if you need to. So I think that's actually a pretty good pick for the Dragons deck. Thunderbreak Regent, I'm not completely sold on. It's fine. It's better in the Air Dragon, where you can literally get it down on turn 3. Playing a turn 4 Thunderbreak Regent doesn't do much for me. And yeah, that damage may matter a little, but it's not gonna be crazy. I don't think it's gonna really shift the game that much. So definitely pull that out. Probably just need more things to do at 4 mana also. Bring in the Explosive Vegetation. We'll bring back Basalt Monolith. Because if you play Basalt Monolith turn 3 and make your 4th land drop, you can literally cast Morophon. So I do like that. That math works out really well. Maybe what math is a little bit less good? Maybe if you play Dragon Speaker Shaman on 3 and make your 4th land drop, you're still not at Morophon yet. Maybe a little bit less sold on that one. I think we need to cut a creature. Honestly, I'm gonna get rid of the Skyline Despot. It doesn't feel like it's doing that much for me. One card that's actually routinely underperformed for me is Silumgar, the Drifting Death. I know we got to blow a few tokens up with it in this game, but rarely is that the case. Rarely does it ever get, more than -2/-2 for me. It just, it underperforms pretty regularly for me, so, I don't know. Maybe the Fist of Suns combo, it's cool if you get it. We saw it get blown up right there. If it gets blown up, then you just have a card that doesn't really do much. Doesn't make me super excited. You know what? I would actually cut Gift of Estates because you have green ramp now. You're probably going to have more lands than other players. I think we did have more lands for decent chunks of the game. But yeah, if you're using Cultivate and Kodamas and you've got Explosive Vegetation, Sky Shroud, you're probably going to have more lands than your opponent now. So yeah, so there's a few changes to the deck, make it a little bit better, just to round it out a little bit more, because it was really one note. It was like ramp, play dragons. If anything happens to dragons, you're in trouble. So now we've got just a teeny bit more removal. We can answer a few more things, and I wouldn't necessarily stop here either. If it were my dragon deck, I'd probably add just a bit more removal to it as well, and some other things, just more utility effects. 5-color dragons is complicated because you have literally everything at your disposal. So, just picking the things you want can be tricky. And that's an exercise I've been working on, like I said, the past few days as part of another deck review. But yeah, there's some good changes just to get you going. Oh, and a couple more things that this deck really, really needs. Because of the high mana requirements of this deck, you're going to want some amount of mana doubling. So that's going to be a Mirari's Wake and Zendikar Resurgent. You have just tons and tons of expensive things. So you really, really need to double your mana, because like we saw, Morophon does get blown up sometimes, and if you don't have Morophon, you will not be able to cast 2 creatures in a turn until very, very late in the game. Zendikar Resurgent is super awesome because of the card draw attached to it. It's also way cheaper than Mirari's Wake. Mirari's Wake is cheaper mana-wise, which is really cool, but is a little bit pricey in paper, so I would definitely add those things in. I don't know exactly what I'm pulling out at the moment, but those are some things. You really need to up the mana production of this deck, and specifically in terms of mana doubling. Maybe something like a Bear Umbra isn't the worst idea ever either, because it gives protection to a creature, so if someone tries to blow up the board, you'll still have a creature left over, and it also untaps all your lands, so Bear Umbra probably a pretty good one to look at. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Savage Ventmaw. Mana production is really, really important in a deck like this, and that gives you 6 extra mana to work with. That, again, if Morophon's not there, or whatever the case is, you just need more mana, you need to cast more stuff, Savage Ventmaw is going to be a pretty good option. So there's a few more things to look at as well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.